Welcome to Tea and Tarot with me, your host, Yashna. Each week I'll share what I've learned as I dive deeper into the world of tarot. I've got my cards in front of me, my cup of tea, and I can't wait to share this journey with you. This is Tea and Tarot.
Hello and welcome to Tea and Tarot with me, your host Yashna. This week we are continuing to break down the major arcana. This week we have gone into major arcana card number 10, the wheel or the wheel of fortune, as it's called in some of the different decks. For today's breakdown, I've got my usual cup of matcha that I just made. I always love having my matcha as I'm doing these episodes. And yeah, let's get into it. So the Wheel of Fortune, or just the wheel, it's funny because in the Rider-Waite deck, it literally says Wheel of Fortune on it. And in my Light Seers deck, it says the wheel. So it is definitely called both things. The card is modeled after the medieval concept of Rota Fortuna, or the Wheel of the Goddess Fortuna. Fortuna was the Roman goddess of fortune and luck. In a lot of depictions, she's shown blindfolded, but most of the time she's shown with the ball or Rota Fortuna, which is the wheel of fortune, and a cornucopia, which is a horn of plenty. The imagery often shows a 6 or 8 spoked wheel with the goddess Fortuna attending the center of it. Usually 4 other figures would be seen climbing, at the summit, falling, and at the bottom of this revolving wheel. In the Visconti Sforza deck, the wheel shows a regal youth on a platform above the wheel depicted very similarly to the Fool. A bearded man is crouched under the wheel similar to the Hermit. There are annotations for each of the 4 figures around the wheel. I shall reign, I am reigning, I have reigned, and I am without reign. That's really all I've got on kind of the history of the card. It very much was imaged after for the goddess Fortuna and has kept a lot of that similar imagery. So jumping into the deck itself, looking at my Rider-Waite deck, there are a lot of symbols chalked into this one card. In ancient Egypt, the wheel was a symbol of the sun, and in this, the wheel is inscribed with the letters T, A, R, and O at 0, 90, 180, and 270 degrees, and those can be arranged as rota, which is Latin for the wheel, but it can also be arranged as Torah, which nods back to the scroll from the High Priestess. The wheel also has 4 alchemical symbols: Mercury at the top, sulfur on the right, salt to the left, and water below. They're all believed to be secret ingredients that are used to create the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone is a mythical object, but was believed to be able to turn base metals such as mercury into gold or silver. It was a much sought after object, especially amongst alchemists and people who believed that they practiced magic or just early chemistry days. So yeah, that's also represented in here. The Sphinx is at the top of the wheel and is a symbol of unity and diversity, given it's composed of the face of a human, the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and the tail of a bull. Coincidentally, you also have, or not coincidentally, but intentionally, you also have those same 4 symbols and like the 4 embodiments of the Sphinx around the entire card. You have an angel in one corner, then you have an eagle, a bull, and a lion, each of them with their own sets of wings, and they are an embodiment of the 4 elements and a show of diversity and unity. The snake on the left side of the card is the legendary serpent monster Typhon. He appears with his head face down to show the negative aspect of fate. The Egyptian card of Anubis is on the card as well. He's below and to the right of the card. the jackal-headed Egyptian god of the afterlife, and he oversees the rites of mummification. He's placed in one corner of the wheel, but he travels through the full cycle of life, death, and rebirth, echoing the purpose of his life. And then finally, the wheel also has 4 other letters, Y, H, V, and H, that represent the name of God in Judaism. So that is the wheel from the Rider-Waite deck broken down. So now moving on to my Light Seers deck depiction, looking at the wheel. I'm going to start by reading from my Tarot for Light Seers guidebook and just the wheel story. She spins her wheel with all the wonders of curiosity and creation in her eyes. She whispers her quintessential invocations as she spins. Here we go. All or nothing. Randomness, synchronicity, fractal and repeating, patterned and karmic, luck, fate, freedom. She lets the wheel go and stands over her spinning discs, gleefully watching the 8 arrows of chaos slip in and out of probabilities. They simultaneously point to the 8 stages of the year and to the roulette of possibilities for the seeker's answer. All the while perched on the foot, she knows that she has harnessed all the light and all the shadow to create this destiny. If she leans too far in either direction, she may fall out of balance and land at the bottom. She's fallen before, and she will do it again, each time learning and growing from the experience. But not this time. She isn't really sure if it's her luck or divine intervention that keeps her at the top of the wheel today. She does know, however, that every time the wheel spins, she feels as though she is cycling upward through the very same lessons. And those lessons vibrate a little differently each time, getting easier to navigate or getting more intense depending on her ability to maneuver her mindset. She has learned that her perspective is an extraordinary asset, and she prepares to throw the lucky die she carries around her neck. She shakes them in her hand, kisses her knuckles, leans towards her badass belief, and winks at faith. With a giggle, she casts her lot and hopes, with all her wishful thinking, that her magical mindset will keep her balanced at the top once more, and she readies her footing as it begins to spin again. That is the story behind the card and kind of shows where she's at. You have a woman doing a yoga tree position on the top of the wheel. That is kind of a show of balancing life's ups and downs. There's the lucky dice around her neck. Those are for fate and luck. The element symbols are all around her for earth, air, water, and fire. Similar to the Rider-Waite deck, it's a show of unity and diversity. The roulette wheel is for fate, chances, unknown potential. The spinning wheel discs are spiraling up through lessons and karmic cycles. They represent different timelines and possibilities. And then you have the chaos symbol, which is in the middle of the wheel. This is for the unpredictable nature of life. Creative potential within chaos. Embracing change and uncertainty. It's about interconnectedness and the butterfly effect and the balance between order and chaos. So going through how this is pulled in a reading, the general interpretation from the Rider-Waite deck is surrender to fate. The general meaning from the Light Seers deck is embrace the flow of life's continuous cycles. The optimistic quote from the Tarot for Light Seers book is, I allowed the transformative energies of fate to expand my experience. In the Light Seer position, this card's about changes, fate, destiny, a lucky break, cycling through karmic cycles, as mentioned before, the chaos of creation, turning points, and serendipity. In the reverse, or Shadow Seer, it's about misfortune, karma, a need to relinquish control, the ups and downs of life, the inevitability of change, and an unexpected setback. When this card is pulled in a reading, it's all about embracing how things change and continue to cycle over time. The wheel is constantly spinning, cycling between good and bad, rising and falling. And just know that whatever is happening will circle back to good or circle back to bad, and to just hold on and trust that things will work. Everything is constantly turning and changing, and you will learn through this cycle, and you will once again reach the top. When pulled for love and relationships, this card is an indicator that things are going to shake up. It could either tip good or bad. It could indicate that you're about to enter a new phase and enter a new relationship, but it could also indicate that you need to step out of something and there's some upheaval coming into your life. Either way, the changes that come will take you to where you need to be. This card is also all about chances, so if you've been hesitating to step into something new, it might be time to take that step and just trust fate. In the reverse, it could mean things have been stagnant or you've been having too many ups and downs. Assess what you need and allow for change to happen. Don't be scared of the change that's coming. For money and career, again, this card is about changes coming and fortune changing. It's typically a good omen for career and indicates that good fortune is coming your way. In the reverse, it could mean that things have been too comfortable or too stagnant and change has to come and you must prepare for it. It could also indicate a period of uncertainty. Ask yourself if you're taking the opportunities before you or if you need to take more action to make change happen. Around health, like everything else, it's an indicator of change. If you've been fighting something, it could indicate a change in your battle. If things have been calm, maybe get a checkup. Check in on your health. Make sure that things aren't changing without you actually knowing about it and being in front of it. And then around spirituality, this card it's a big sign of fate. Fate is smiling down on you, and it's time to focus on developing and growing so you are able to embrace what the world wants to throw your way. Even if it feels like the world is against you, focus on your inner growth to push forward. So that's what I've got on the breakdown of this card. It's a pretty straightforward card, honestly. Sometimes it doesn't really provide an answer when you pull it in a reading, but it is about changes, cycles, trust in fate. So what could be more tarot and magic 8-ball than that? This reminds me of like the magic 8-ball thing where you ask a question and it says, try again later, or maybe, or just one of the vague things that's not yes or no. It's kind of like the wheel, but you just have to trust what's coming and accept that you don't always know what's in stock for you. And then to wrap up this episode, or to wrap up the content portion of this episode, I thought it would be fun to do some little trivia tidbits and look up wheels in general. So this is the Wheel of Fortune, but what about wheels that we use in our day-to-day lives? So I looked up when the wheel was invented and some random trivia from that time. The Mesopotamian civilization was credited with inventing the wheel, though some find that the wheel was also independently invented in Eastern Europe around the same time. The invention of the wheel largely contributed to two industries: transportation, as it was used on carts in battle chariots, as well as agriculture. This became a huge aid for tooling, for irrigation, and animal wrangling. The earliest evidence of the wheel dates back to 3500 BC and was a simple wooden disc with a spoke through it that was used for pottery making. Now, to note, 3500 BC is so long ago. That's over 5,500 years ago from today, but it's still not the beginning of humanity or civilization. So before that, supposedly, based on what we know, people didn't even have wheels, didn't have access to it. So think about all the tooling and all the things in your life that are made easier by the wheel. It did not exist yet. The first wheeled vehicles date to 3000 BC, 500 years after the first evidence of the wheel. And these were used for simple carts and carriages. Spoked wheels, i.e. hollowed out to make them lighter, date back to 2000 BC, which helped make chariots and wagons faster and more efficient. Romans advanced wheels more over the 1st century AD to add iron rims for strength. And this was really important because they used them a lot for sports and for wars. The first bicycle, jumping way forward, I'm going to skip like all the little stuff in between, but the first bicycle was invented in the 18th century, featuring 2 wheels connected by a frame and pedals, paving the way for modern transportation. And then the popular automobiles and cars that we all use, or not all of us, but most of us use today for transportation, didn't come about until the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, which helped bring about mass transportation of wheels and lots more modes of transportation that are used today. Wheels have continued to evolve since with other alloys, tubeless tires, and other advancements to improve aerodynamics. And that's all I got. That's all I got on the wheel. Stay tuned. I am going to be right back, and then I am going to do the wheel reading from my Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I am going to be doing the Wheel of Fortune reading from the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. So this spread is the spinning for your own luck with the wheel. So it's a spread for calling in the magic of luck and synchronicity. I will be drawing 3 cards, one for luck's influence, one for serendipity spin, and then the last for luck, fate, and freedom. So yeah, I'm going to start shuffling my cards. I have not done this reading before, as with all these major arcana cards that are in this booklet. Or, sorry, not cards, but spreads that are in this booklet. The nice thing about this one is it seems like you don't really need a prompt for it. It's kind of answering where luck is in your life now, and where will it come from, and where is it going in the future. So it seems like I don't necessarily need to be thinking about too much besides just where I'm at right now. And oh my gosh, a card popped out again, as it always does. Okay, so let's do this. So I have 3 cards, and given this is a card for luck and fate, I thought I should fan out the cards this time. Seems to make the most sense to me. And now I'm going to draw 3 cards. So let's go first, luck's influence. Second is serendipity spin. And then third for luck, fate, and freedom. Let's start flipping these. Okay, so the first card is luck's influence. This is, what do I need to know about the current factors influencing my luck? Where am I on the wheel? This one is, oh my god, that's crazy. The first card I drew is the wheel. This is the wheel spread, and I drew the wheel. I mean, I think that means my wheel is spinning. It doesn't quite answer where I am on the wheel. Maybe it's more representative of the fact that she's on the top of the wheel in the imagery, but is very much about my wheel is spinning right now. I think that's what that means. Yeah. 2 is serendipity spin. This one is, how can I invite more serendipity, luck, and magic into my life? And the card I drew for that is the Page of Wands. And yeah, let's come back to some of the meanings. And then the last one is advice for where I am headed next. What actions or perspectives will positively influence my opportunities? And for this one, I drew the Five of Swords, which is not what I would expect to draw for luck, fate, and freedom. So let me jump to the Page of Wands really quick. So from reading the meanings of the cards for the Page of Wands and the Five of Swords, I literally just talked about the wheel, so I know all about what it means now. And if I didn't, that would be sad to my research that I do for each episode. But yeah, the way I interpret it is luck's influence. Like, what do I need to know about my current factors influencing my luck? And I think it is just a reminder of there's always ups and downs, and to not necessarily look at what's going on in my life right now as one set point, but to know like things are constantly changing and it's cycling. So, I mean, looking at my current situation introspectively, it's been a bit of a rough couple months, and things have been a little rough work-wise with the state of affairs going on right now. So I think it is a good reminder of all of those current factors will influence how lucky you feel and how happy you feel, but to know like it keeps moving and it's constant ups and downs, not just stagnant. And then how can I invite more luck and magic into my life? The Page of Wands is all about explosions of creativity, creative bursts of new ideas and energy and sparks, and doing things that are exciting, finding new ideas that inspire you. So I think what can bring more magic into my life and maybe more luck and happiness too is just really tapping into all the different ideas I have and spending more time feeding that creativity and feeding those thoughts and what I want to do. And then advice for where I'm headed next, what actions or perspectives will positively influence my opportunities. The Five of Swords is not at first glance a positive card or something with positive influence, but I think the thing to keep in mind with it is it's about integrity and honesty. The man in the card is hurt by deceit from others, but he knows he leaves the situation with his own honesty and his own values. So I think what I kind of take away from that is, as I continue to step forward in life, to just maintain my values and make sure I'm still doing what feels right to me. So as I exit any situation, and no matter what happens, I have my own integrity. I have my own values. I am not compromising on what matters the most to me. So yeah, that is the spread. It's an interesting one. It's not quite what I thought this was going to be, but I also don't necessarily know like how a spread to call in luck and synchronicity would really work, because there is a lot of like, luck is up to the cosmos, right? Luck is up to fate. So I don't think you can control it necessarily. Or yeah, I just don't think you can really control it. So again, these are just great reminders in my daily life of feed my creativity, make sure I hold my values true, and know that for whatever ups and downs I feel in my day-to-day, like, it will continue to cycle. For all the downs right now, it will be up soon, hopefully. So yeah, that's it. That's the Wheel of Fortune. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, for tuning in. And next week, I am doing another special episode to break down the second part of the Tortured Poets department as tarot cards. So tune in for that, part 2. It'll be the rest of the anthology. I am so excited for that. And then after that, we'll continue with the major arcana. So see you then. Thank you for listening to Tea and Tarot with Yashna. This episode was produced, hosted, and edited by me, Yashna Bensel, and brought to you by Tea Time Podcasts. The tarot reading was done using the Light Seers deck by Chris Ann, and all card visuals were from the Light Seers deck and the Rider-Waite Smith Tarot deck. Research was done using Wikipedia, The Ultimate Guide to Tarot by Liz Dean, Tarot for Light Seers by Chris Ann, and many, many Google searches. Music was made using SoundRaw. Join me next week for another episode of Tea and Tarot.